So right now, I'm working on a rare plant called Phacelia. I should probably tell you a little bit about the plant. It grows about a half a meter tall, has really pretty purple flowers, and it produces a lot of seeds, but it's very short-lived. It only lives for about 1 to 2 years, and so it survives as a population through its seed bank. So its seeds can lie dormant in the soil for over 15 years. It only grows in Spanish Fort Canyon, so it's the only place in the whole world where it's found. It's also endangered because there are only a few of them, and so the Forest Service in particular is worried about the population just blinking out. And so that's why there's so much interest in establishing the plant on Forest Service land so they can manage the plant on protected areas. As a biology professor, I teach plant ecology. That's my main area of focus. What we do, it's a class for botany majors, but then also biology majors. And we go on several field trips to learn about the different plant communities in the area, doing some compare and contrast, and collecting data. What we've been doing is using seeds that have been grown in the greenhouse for a few generations to produce more seeds. And so we're growing seeds in the greenhouse and then introducing them in the field in appropriate sites based on that habitat suitability model. And one great thing about working on the research is I get to involve students in the project. And so the students are involved in data collection. We go out in the field, they help me in the greenhouse to grow the plants and then collect the seeds. My goal is to get them immersed in the practice of plant ecology so they have some experience in that field. So I got interested in plants in high school. I went to Provo High and there were some really great science teachers there. And I remember taking Jan Cooper's biology class. It was an AP biology class. And one time we went on the field trip, we just walked across town to the botany pond area, which is south of BYU campus. And there are a lot of different types of trees there. And I remember Jan Cooper, or Ms. Cooper as I called her back then, Ms. Cooper was teaching us about all of the trees in the area. And the light was just perfect, and I thought, hey, I want to study trees. So I ended up graduating my undergrad with a degree in conservation biology, and then I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I got my master's and PhD in botany. And for that, I studied quaking aspen, which is a common plant. And so I study both common trees and then most recently rare plants like Phacelia. A quote that I really like is by the conservationist Aldo Leopold, and he says the first law of tinkering is to keep all the parts. So when you're taking apart a radio or a toaster and you're trying to fix it, you may not understand what every part means or the necessity of each part. So you might be tempted to just say, hey, I don't need this, I don't need Phacelia. But then when you try to put the toaster back together, you might realize, oh, actually that was the part that I actually needed to keep that ecosystem intact or to make that toaster work. I also like to think of an ecosystem as a tapestry. So it's got all of these strands in it. And so Phacelia is part of the pinyon juniper community. And so those are major portions of the community. But then I like to think of Phacelia, because of its purple flowers, as a purple strand going through that tapestry. And that may be holding the whole thing together. Like I mentioned, it grows in very specific places where not very many other plants grow. It's an important food source for herbivores. And so if you remove that one part of the ecosystem, you don't really know what will happen. And so I'm trying to cultivate an appreciation of the botanical world and then also cultivate lifelong learning in that area. Because we all benefit from plants. I mean, without plants, we'd have no food and no oxygen. So I think even someone who's pre-med benefits from that type of experience.